You can love it, you can hate it, but you can't tell me Guchanga is not the GOAT. And I know I butchered his name. All right, I know I did. But you cannot tell me this motherfucker is not the GOAT. Uh, yeah. This one is it's up there for me. It really is. Um, I'm sure most of you have heard of at least heard of I Am the Fated Villain or the Heavenly Destined Villain, the other name for it, I think. I'm sure you've at least heard of it. I'm sure you've at least seen some of it. Let's see. I mean, it's just references. Okay. Um, but if if you haven't, essentially, this is a cultivation manhua that does have a little bit of controversy to it. There's a lot of people who are like me, happy that we have a evil main character that basically just gets everything he wants, like he manipulates people, he essentially just does what he wants to do, takes what he wants, and like nothing really seems to go wrong for him, which is in my opinion a good thing. Like there's people out there who are like he never faces any challenges, and it's like, yeah, but the reason why this comic was made in the first place was because people were complaining that there was no comic where the MC just got everything he wanted by doing whatever he wanted. So I, it's essentially what this one is. He's if you don't know it, I guess I'll give it a brief description. So Gu Changi is a transmigrator from Earth who winds up in this cultivation world as the son of like the highest rank family in the upper realm. And so the story starts out with him in the lower realm, essentially like acting as a god over these people down here in this realm because he's waiting for a secret realm or something to open to where because he's down there to get a specific something from the lower realm, but he has to wait for it to become available. So basically, the story starts out with him residing in a lower realm sect, and we get introduced to him. We get introduced to the first female of his harem, and but what really the story is about is the fact that he has a system, and the system shows him the fortune that other people have, and fortune is essentially like one's heavenly luck. So if you have a really high golden fortune, then you're like a son of heaven or a daughter of heaven, right? Our main character has black, very unlucky fortune, right? And so the system is meant for him to steal this fortune from the destined, like, righteous people of the uh, world and like consume their fortune to increase his fortune. And so that's basically what he does. It's like he does whatever it takes. He'll manipulate people. He'll stand in front of their face, giving them a smile, calling them his friend, and while he's stabbing them in the back, like there is nothing he won't really do to get the fortune of these people that he wants. Now, it isn't to say that he's completely heartless. Like I know there's a whole thing of like he's does whatever he wants, and he doesn't really care for people. But there are a select few, like his wife Mekong, which as you can see here, most people love Mekong. I love Mekong. Like she's definitely the best in the harem. But the two really main characters, other than Gu Chang'e himself, would be Mekong and like his cousin slash he calls her his little sister Gu Zinair. And essentially like those are like basically the two people that he won't like backstab or harm or whatnot like himself. So like yes he's is evil and he wants the fortune at all costs, but he himself, despite trying to act heartless and not caring about anyone. You can tell that deep down he at least cares about those two. But moving on, the art really good. It's like it's hard to find comics that can really top the art in this one. Like there are, don't get me wrong. Like I Am an Evil God has, in my opinion, has better art. Um, so I'm not saying it's like the best, but I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. Pretty good. The characters, as I said, the main character is everything I want him to be. He's evil. You know, he does whatever it takes to get what he wants, and essentially, for my enjoyment, that's all it really takes. Uh, the female characters, they're all beautiful. Like you're not gonna find. Well, I don't want to say you're not gonna find a single ugly one, but like for the majority, like you're not really gonna find any like ugly female characters if they give them screen time, because it's essentially where the fan service of all this comes in. It's just the beautiful female characters in like the skin tight clothing, right? The world building, I mean, it's essentially what you think it is. It's him consuming the fortune of all these people, and using a forbidden cultivation technique to become way stronger than he should be. So, and that's where the title "I Am the Fated Villain" comes from. Is he uses a cultivation technique that is basically deemed as taboo, and like is supposed to be the enemy of the entire world for using it. So he mainly keeps it a secret for the most part, other than like a select few people knowing. But so the characters are good, the world building's pretty good. The pacing is, it's not slow, it's not extremely fast. Like I feel like the pacing's a good pacing for it. But as for my recommendation, like yeah, I mean if you want a main character that does what he wants, um, who is a manipulative, POS, like this one would be for you. Uh, but yeah, I'd give it a solid like 8 out of 10. I mean, most people aren't gonna like it if you're going in there for like a very deep story. Like it doesn't have that. It's mainly focused around him just being him. So, but that'll do it with this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.